Well, welcome to episode number 67, according to Flint, and happy after several tries with technical difficulties from in the boondocks of somewhere in Louisiana, two-time world champion, Chris Shivers. I never see you.
I stay hidden out these days. I don't travel very far.
Was that when you were done? Was that by design, or was it hard to be around bull riding? Did you care about bull riding? Or did you just decide I'm happy at home?
I was happy at home, but I still love the sport. You know, that was something that I did for, I rode in a PBR for right at 16 years, and I probably rode bulls for 25 years. And something I truly loved. That's what we done. On the weekends, that's where we went. That's what we done. But I was always a firm believer, when you're done with something, you're done. You know, you can't go back. It's like quit smoking or drinking. You can't have a cigarette every once in a while and have a beer every once in a while if you're going to quit. So I just decided to stay home. That was a place that I needed to be. And so that's what I done.
Yeah. You told me that once. A matter of fact, since you and I talked, there's been people asking me about, are you going to go do one here once in a while and go do a rodeo? And I told him, Chris Shivers told me, it's like smoking. You can't just have a cigarette once in a while.
That's right.
It was, when you left, you probably, of the people I've seen retire, and it surprised me because I've always known you, but not real well. Yours was probably the most emotional retirement I saw of anybody. Emotion from you.
Yeah.
That's kind of you, isn't it?
I think so. I've always been that guy. When things hit my heart, I always choke up and I can't speak. And I don't know. I didn't see all the tears and the crying and all that stuff, but there was a couple times that tears come down my face whenever I was announced at the finals, and that was always a big part of my showing up, was hearing that crowd holler for you.
Mm-hmm. It concerns me. You get used to it, becomes so much a part of your life that I do worry I'm going to need that more than I think I do.
I don't think you will. I mean, I was just like that. I had that same feeling, and I think maybe you have another chapter that you're gonna go into, and everything's gonna fall into place. I think that's the way it did with me. It's not so bad at home. I enjoyed the traveling, and I enjoyed the road. I don't want to say I enjoyed the traveling, because I really didn't like the going and getting on an airplane every weekend and going to a different city. If I could get on the bulls in my backyard, I would have probably rode maybe 5 more years. I enjoyed the winning, and I enjoyed the fans and the people that I got to meet throughout the years. I enjoyed being around those group of people. But the traveling and the kids at home and that lifestyle, it's just two different lifestyles, and it was time to stay home. So
yeah, a lot of days I wish I could just snap my fingers and be there, and then I'm good with it.
Yep.
I think, I don't know, it's a good topic because I can relate right now, but it's, people don't understand the locker room, the quote unquote locker room, whether it's literally a locker room or that atmosphere, whether it's the hotel lobby. Those people become more your family than your family at times. You see them more, don't you?
Home. It sure is. It's a family away from home, and you see and you get to experience. It's like a brotherhood. It's like the Navy SEALs. They get to see so much stuff together and do so many things that sometimes it's close calls, and sometimes it's real fun stuff. But you really have a bond out there that never leaves you.
Yeah. Something you said made me just think. I have a lot of people coming up to me saying, "Oh my God, are you excited? Are you excited to quit?" And I think I've had like the greatest job in the world for 25 years. I'm not sure. I mean, you're curious, you're ready for something different. I don't know that excited's the right word.
Yeah. You know, I heard something the other day. I think maybe Ross Coleman said on one of those on the Facebook or something that he told those guys, you know, this will be the best job that you ever have. And that's exactly right. There is no better job than what's going on at that moment. You know, you're living a dream and you're getting to do exactly what you want to do, and you're getting paid for it and making a great living. And I think those young guys need to cherish that moment, because one day it won't be there.
Remember Kelly Armstrong? Do you remember Kelly Armstrong? Canadian bull rider, and I love that. Been good friends forever. And I don't know why I remember that he said this, but when he quit riding bulls, he said, "Flint, I discovered something. In the real working man's world, it's way harder to make $10,000.
Right.
He'd go someplace and ride and know he was going to win 10 grand here and there. That's a reality that hits guys in the face, doesn't it?
You bet. You bet. That's where I'm at today.
I'll send you 10 grand.
There you go.
But we have it pretty good. And I try to remind myself that when it gets hectic this week, as we do this, it's been a hectic week, hometown PBR. And I rub my head and then I go, man, I'm not curing cancer, or digging ditches or whatever. Speaking of digging ditches, what is it? What is your business now? What are you doing?
Well, the Lee Owls in Lockney, Texas. You know, they hired me to go to a bull riding in Ogden, Utah one time. They put my name on the event, and me and Brand, my youngest boy, we flew out there and we got to meet them, and, you know, we did the event, and several months later they called me and they said, you know, won't you come up here? We got a such and such going on. We got a burr fire, they called it. They have a trucking business where they sell burrs, and they had a fire, and I went up and I seen what they done, and I just kind of fell into place, because that's some of the same stuff that I do at home, you know. So, and then not long after that, I bought a truck and I went up there and worked with them, for them, and then I moved back home after that. I had to have another truck, and so I'm in the trucking business. And now I got trucks, I got track hoes, I got mulchers, dozers. So I got a kind of a variety of whatever you might need. We stay busy. We've been mulching trees all week, and we do dirt work. I got a dirt pit here at home. We sell dirt. We just do about whatever, just whatever makes it all.
Huh. What about, do your boys help you? Are they interested in that?
Well, yes and no. They do stuff around the place. We got about 150 mama cows, so we have stuff to do there too. They don't get involved in the trucks or the mulching and stuff like that. I got one in college. He's been there for 2 years, and then the other one's 15, and he's in the middle of basketball and baseball, so it's not really a whole lot of time to do stuff like that. So,
and while we were getting logged on, the star of what we were doing here in the camera was your little girl.
Oh yeah.
She's like 5 years old. She's 5,
15, and 20. We got them spread it apart. I think my wife's plan was to never have an empty nest, and it has been it's been pretty interesting around for the last 5 years. That I don't know exactly what you call her, but she's a ball of energy, and she never stops. From the time she gets up in the morning to the time she goes to bed, her mouth never stops moving. She's always got something to say, and it's been pretty entertaining. I
joked one time and asked if she was an accident, and you said she's the only one that wasn't.
That's a true story. That's a true story.
So tell me also, and then we'll get to some other stuff. You guys go do some, no other way to put it, you do some extreme cowboy shit out in the swamps in Louisiana. Don't you? Cow catching and bull catching.
We do. We've been going down there for several years now, and we go sleep on those islands. You got to go across and get on the islands on a barge, and they got some pretty good bulls over there, like big ranchy bulls that don't really get to see anybody, for just people in a boat. You know, that's the only people that they ever see, and they're on these little small islands, and they'll swim across to the next island. So it's pretty tough to catch those things and get them on a boat and get them back across. But we've been going down there probably for, I don't know, 15, 20 years now, and working for this guy. His name was Philip Sims, and we sleep on the ground, we cook. J.W. Hart, he comes with me. He brings the gang, all of his guys, and it's real fun. I mean, it's pretty much our vacation for the year. It's kind of a guy's week out. So we're dog tired when we get done, but it's always a blast.
What happens to the bulls?
They take them across and sell them. We load them on a barge. We just went down there probably 2 weeks ago, and we caught 26 head out of there, and they'll ship them to the sale barn and sell them that for the Mr. Phillips' wife.
I made a note of that because I was talking to J-Dub not very long ago, and he was talking about being down there.
Yeah.
And telling stories about it. And some of my friends I hang out with say, man, I'd love to go do that. And I stand in the back and say, there is not one part of me
that right.
thinks I would be comfortable.
About day 3, I'm not near as excited about it either. Not anymore. Used to, man, I couldn't wait to get on that boat, and it was the greatest thing in the world. But now it's and I'm like that today, but after day 3, I'm done. I'm had enough of it for a little while.
I remember when you and I kind of came onto the scene in the PBR, and I never realized that until I got to thinking about it. About the same time.
97.
Yeah. My first World Finals was 97, because I remember Michael Gaffney was the world champ.
That's right.
So I know myself, the way I grew up, when I stepped into the PBR and there's Jim Sharp, Tuff Hedeman, Ty Murray, Cody Lambert, I was like this. Were you like that, or were you? You were a little younger than me. Oh, were you pretty wide-eyed?
I was just like every kid today that goes and sees the guys that he looked up to, or the guys that he watched on TV. You know, probably the 95 is when I really started paying attention to things. 95, 6, 7 at the NFR, because the PBR wasn't there yet. But you know, I watched guys. You know, Ty Murray, Tuff Hedeman, Jim Sharp, Daryl Mills, Jerome Davis. And I got to go to a few of those touring pros. I remember I believe it was the first. Uvalde, Texas was the first PBR I ever went to. And I had an opportunity. I rode this Longhorn in the long round. It just kind of spun in the gate. It was real fun. And then I drew a bull called Tough Enough of Jerry Nelson's, which was he was a bull that had been around a while, and he was pretty bucky, and I almost rode him. And I remember, I think it was Jerome Davis was there, and he said something that was pretty cool to me that I don't even remember what he said, but he talked to me, so that was a highlight of my whole event, you know. And but no, I looked up to all those guys, and still do today, even now. Yeah,
because I mean, we look at you now. What are you, 40? How old are you? Yeah, we're 10 years, basically 10 years apart.
Yeah.
Was there a guy in particular that you looked at and said, that's my guy? I ride like him. He's got a good style. Or did you just kind of take it all in and do your own deal?
Yes and no. Bubba Dunn. He was always a guy that I got to see coming up through Louisiana, and he was probably one of the most exciting guys to watch ride a bull. He looked good. He moved. He hustled. He done all the things that I wanted to do. So I watched him a lot. But there's also guys that I like some of the things they would do, and then some of the things that they didn't do, I didn't care for. So I didn't. But I remember getting on some bulls, in the touring pros when I felt like I was really riding good, and I was comfortable, and I could, I knew where everything was on my body, and I knew how to move this. And I remember, I'm going to try to throw my arm like Ty Murray does, or, do my arm straight like Tuff Hedeman, or, do this or that. And it was I don't know, it was a time in my career where I was comfortable, where I could do things like that, or move your feet like Bubba Dunn, it was just that time was things where my mechanical was right. So
there's so many guys that people forget about when people are talking about the great PBR riders. You can list the names that are going to come up,
Mm-hmm.
But we know, being around for that long, I remember Bubba Dunn. You just never knew.
Yeah, that's right.
When he got on something rank, he just had a style. He was cool.
Yeah.
But he's not often brought up.
When he wanted to be there and was having fun, there was nobody. He was one of the best, but he sure liked it at home. He liked to be at home. He was, I don't know, maybe two people. He was one of the only ones that ever ride Bodacious, but he rode him twice. In Lufkin, Texas.
Speaking of Bodacious, people still, PBR, social media throws things out. Who's the greatest PBR bull? People to this day, because he was on buckles and t-shirts. Right. Bodacious. What it would be comparing Bodacious to what you see now? How would you describe Bodacious?
That would be hard. Bodacious, he was just an eliminator. He wasn't a bull that you wanted to get on. Nobody rode him hardly. I don't know how I was explaining from bulls today to what he was.
He wasn't all that great. Like, I tell people that, like, do you think he knew what he was doing?
I do.
Being dirty?
I do. Towards the end, I think he knew what he was doing. Them bulls are smart. They know. The way he was doing it, he had a knack that he could jerk you down, get them on their head. I don't know. People ask me all the time, what was the best bull ride you ever made? What was the best bull? And that's hard to explain, too. Little Yellow Jacket. I think he was smart like that. Mm-hmm. I think he knew where you was at on his back and how to finagle it around to get you off.
Okay. When people ask you that, it's hard to explain. Not necessarily. I'm not going to go with what's the best bull ride you ever made. I think that's asked a lot. But when you think of your career, when you think of that first thing, are there a couple that stand out for certain reasons? Not necessarily the greatest or whatever. Are there a couple?
One bull riding stands out. 1999. I think it was the second round, the third round. I rode Trick or Treat. And I was 96 and a half. And that split first. I think Mike White was 91 on Scat Cat, and he was 10th.
Uh-huh.
That was one of the rankest nights that I can ever remember. As a total, as a whole. Yeah. Ty Murray rode Red Wolf. Terry Don West rode Promised Land. It was just that was the greatest night of bull riding that I can ever remember.
Do you know that was the first year of the World Finals was at Thomas and Mack Arena? And between 1997 and right now, that's the one World Finals I didn't go to.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if you remember Bill Selman, the Bud Light guy?
Yeah, I do.
And he and I got along personally, but he didn't like the position. He wanted to sell just bull riding. So I did like 3 regular season PBR events is all. And so I booked a rodeo. And I'll never forget Jerome Robinson came to me in August and said, "You good to go for the PBR finals?" I stuck to my contract in Central Point, Oregon. And that's the one year I missed.
That's the only one.
Since 97.
Yeah.
No wonder my knees hurt. Huh.
That's right.
It's hard to describe. I've been asked in interviews, do you remember when Chris Shivers came around? You know, this young kid, it's been done on video. I'm not kidding, man. You look 12 years old.
I was 18, but I always look young.
You still look young.
Not really. I don't feel young anymore. I got the grays coming.
Look at that.
Like you. I've got my hair though. I got my hair.
But you weren't. What were your specs when you came in? 5'6". What was your height and weight that first year? Do you remember?
I got to be 5'4" first. Now I think 5'4". I'm gonna stick with 5'5" maybe, but 135 probably. 140.
You know, when you were small, but I remember when Brian Cantor came along, and I said, "Man, he's tiny," and people said Chris Shivers was small. That no, you weighed 130, 140.
My frame was a little bigger. Yeah. He was real petite.
Jess Lockwood, same thing.
Yeah.
The way being short isn't as critical as having a little something here. These bulls will beat you up. They'll break you in half. When Jess Lockwood was junior in high school, he was rodeoing with my girls up here, and parents came to me and said, "He's your next world champ, PBR." I said, "He's got to grow 6 inches and gain 25 pounds because he was freaking tiny."
Yeah.
And he grew 5 inches, gained 25 pounds. That's Brian Cantor. His body couldn't hold up.
Yeah. Yeah, he was always getting hurt. Something coming loose.
Coming loose. I like
loose. Shoulders, knees.
JB Mooney says that's the greatest bull rider he's ever seen in person. Was Brian
That's
Cantor.
what I heard. I've seen him make some good rides. But like you say, you got to stay healthy. That's part of the game too.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the hardest part.
Take me through the process. Randy Bernard came up with more damn ideas, like how to sell the sport. They weren't all good, but he had some ideas. But the whole Little Yellow Jacket match for $1 million at Colorado Springs. I wasn't there either, by the way.
You wasn't?
It was summer, wasn't it? Wasn't it in the summer?
When was it?
I think. Anyway, what was the process of that? Like, how'd that come about? And how did you get picked? And how did it come about?
Well, I didn't actually get picked. You had to win in Anaheim, California. The guy that won the event, if I'm not mistaken, I may be wrong about if you had to win the event. Somehow or another, I won the chance to get on Ugly. And if I rode him, I got a chance for the $1 million. And if I didn't ride him, I think it was either 100 or 300,000, something like that. And I rode Ugly in Anaheim, California, and got the chance at the $1 million.
I watched that the other day. I remember watching it on TV. I was somewhere where I could watch it on TV. Were you feeling the pressure, or was it not much to lose there?
Oh, that would have probably been hard for me to ride anything at that moment. I was so tense, and I went from the East Coast to the West Coast all week long, doing different, from New York to LA, doing different radios and TVs and promoting the match. I had built it up in my brain so much that I don't know. when you just get on and you're loose and you're having fun and things are just working, just flowing. But I was so tensed up that I wanted it so bad that's not when it works the best. So I think that was the pressure and the nobody had ever had a chance at $1 million to ride one bull, one chance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Were you more tense and wanted to ride him because you wanted to ride him, or did $1 million mean that much to you?
Oh no, I didn't care about riding him. I just wanted the $1 million.
Man, that's good. Somebody's honest about that.
I got on that bull, I think about 5 times, and I almost rode him in Bismarck, North Dakota one night at one of Chad Berger's events. He always has up there. Mm-hmm. I mean, right to the whistle. But other than that, I never had much luck on that bull. I don't know what the deal was. I seen some guys ride him that made him look, pretty comfortable, but I never did.
I would say Michael Gaffney in Nampa, Idaho, Little Yellow Jacket was pretty good. They marked him.
Somebody else, Corey McFadden always rode him dead easy. He rode him twice that I know of. I believe twice.
I remember Corey McFadden riding him.
Yeah.
Corey McFadden rode some other rank bulls too.
He could.
He could really ride. Wasn't he missing an ear or something?
I think so. I think he got it stomped off or something.
It's kind of shit I remember, Shivers. Hey, I watched that though not long ago. I went on YouTube when I knew I was going to talk to you and watch that $1 million match. He had a pretty good day, Little Yellow Jacket.
Yeah. I could always make him look rank.
You do come up in the conversation about guys who make bulls look better, not because you buck off of them, but because there's a list of people, Chris Shivers, JB Mooney, Jess Lockwood. There's a way. It's a judged event. You can make them look better, can't you?
That's right. That's part of winning. Everybody says, oh, you make him look better. You got some extra points by that ride. Well, that's fine. That's what I intended to do. So, I mean, that's just part of the game. That's part of winning. There was always some that was probably more points than what they should have been. I'm sure there was. But I didn't write them down.
Gymnastics is the same way. It's a judged event. It's not a timed event. If you have more style, more control, make a bull look better, you get more points.
That's right.
I remember Silvano Alves in his real prime. People would complain that he didn't mark as high. Bulls did not perform underneath him like they did you or JB Mooney. That was a fact.
Yeah. Well, I believe that Silvano, he was in it for the average, and he always sat in one spot, made minimal moves, didn't show a lot of action, but he rode a lot of bulls. A lot of bulls. That made his strategy.
It worked for him. Like everybody says, he's the only rider in PBR history that they changed rules because of him.
What was the rule? I remember that. What was
it? It had to do with rerides and something. The clock came into play, being on the clock in the chute. There was different things. And I like Silvano. I like Silvano more now than I did when it was he and JB battling.
Yeah.
I think he's way more fun now. Shiv, let me tell you something. That guy has made a living out of pretending to not speak English.
Okay, I thought he couldn't because I've never heard him say a word. I don't know him. So.
Oh yeah, he's fine. He can
speak English?
Shit, yeah, he can speak English pretty well. But he's been here a while now.
Yeah. Like me.
He probably speaks better English than you. Hey, those guys, when we started though, it was easy to know the Brazilian guys because there was like 3 of them. There was Adriano and Paulo came over, and Edgene. There's a lot of people think it's not good for PBR. I will say it's a U.S. tour.
That's
So
right.
it would behoove us to have more American riders in there, but there's an easy solution to that. Just beat them. Right?
That's right.
Were you around many of those guys? What was your take?
I enjoyed watching them. You know, Adriano, I watched him on, throughout my whole career. When Guilherme came around, he was my favorite. I always liked Guilherme. He's a good guy. And Ed and I liked Ed and I. Which I liked them all, but I mean, there was ones I communicated with and kind of traveled with just a little bit here and there. My hat was always off to them. I think they did a great job, and I don't think anybody ought to have any complaints because they're just riding better than everybody else. That's the whole deal.
Adriano told me one time, the reason is they don't have a plan B. Like you and me living here, growing up here, we know we'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we do, we're fine. He said they give up everything, come over here, and there is no other option.
That's right.
And they're together. It's like traveling partners. They got a lot going.
I think that's why I respect what they do more than anything.
Your kids, like Brand said he ropes some.
Yeah, he does.
Did they ever want to be bull riders?
They did. They played with the mini for a while. We go to the events, but we don't bull ride at home. You know, we don't. That ain't what we. I don't know. That ain't what we talk about. That ain't what we do. And I don't know. I think that played a big part in, they're riding. You know, but Brand, he didn't start roping until Chile was probably 18, and Blaine, he still don't rope. We do quite a bit of roping here, but I don't know. Maybe, and it didn't bother me that they chose not to ride the bulls, because I tell you, it was worse when I knew they had to get on the mini bulls and the older, division, the senior division. It was just, I was a nervous wreck. I don't know why, but I was.
We kind of did the opposite. Like, I was a sports guy, and my girls, I had one that was a track star, but they didn't play basketball. And they went it, and they're big in rodeo. That's all they've done. You're big in bull riding. Your kids have been in sports. I don't know how your kid is 6'2". I don't have any idea how that.
My breeding program worked.
I don't know. Yeah. It's from the mom. Even
that's right.
Cows, horses, it's always the mom. All the good traits.
I agree.
I don't know. I think if people have good careers, I have a good friend that played in the NFL. His kid never played football because the dad didn't care. He had his own. He didn't have to live vicariously through someone. You see a lot of dads. My kid's going to be a great bull rider because he sucked at it. The dad, right?
You see that a lot.
It's annoying to me.
See that a lot.
I have parents come up to me all the time. Oh my God, come and meet my kid. He wants to be a bull rider. Like, I'm going to do a cheer for him. Like, I never know what to say. I always say, get him some golf clubs, basketball shoes, give him a chance.
Steer him in a different direction. Yeah. They've never been stomped in the back of the head either.
No. Recently, as we record this, in the last 4 PBR events, in the last 4 short rounds, they've ridden 1 bull. I don't think that's good for us. I don't think it's good for the sport. And those short round bulls, I've never seen anything like it. It's getting to the point guys are getting hurt more than they're riding. I don't think that's good.
I don't think it's good for that sport either. I go to some bull ridings around, not too far away from my house. And, those people, the bulls aren't as rank. And when those guys ride, if 4 or 5 ride, man, the crowd is just so happy. But if nobody rides, it's not good for the show. So but what do? You're out breeding your bull riders, or what do you do about it?
That's the big question. What do you do? These bulls are, I mean, they're outbreeding the cowboys, like you said. Do you make a conscious decision to spread out those rank ones at different events and make the long round a little easier? I mean, even in the last 5 years.
Here's what I think you do. I think you put in there in all those rank ones, spot them out through your long round and long rounds, and then you put a nice, good short round, because that's what people remember, the short round.
That's a good point. Because we were Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Nampa, Idaho. We were like 1 for the first 25 in the long round. I mean, it was, and legit bad buckers. I had to work my butt off. Like, I was doing everything I could. I was sleight of hand. I was doing the, but pretty soon, I just backed off because the crowd, they didn't pay. The sign says bull riding.
That's right.
And they weren't seeing it. And I couldn't fool them anymore.
That's right. I don't know. I've heard that. I like I said, I quit bull riding. I just quit watching and everything. All I get to watch anymore is cartoons on the TV, because that's when I come in at night, that's what's on. So I just leave it alone.
I was going to ask if you watch. When I go for years, since my girls were junior high school rodeo, and we'd go to amateur rodeos across Montana, and it wasn't even a conscious thing. When it got to the bull riding, I'd go with them to the trailer. And people go, oh, aren't you going to watch the bull ride? Last week I watched JB Mooney and Jess Lockwood and whatever. I don't want to watch this.
That's right.
We've got a little spoiled. We've got spoiled. You and I got to watch all those years.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to beat it, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I don't know why it's like that. You do something for so many years, you think that you would just continue and it would be fine, but I don't know. It doesn't bother me like it used to. Like you said, I don't care to watch it anymore. I don't know why that is. I'll
probably work in the business, because it's all I've known for however long. But I think I could do the same. I think if I found other things and passions, I don't think it would bother me. I'll go to my mom and dad's, and my mom, thinking she's doing something cool, put a rodeo on the Cowboy Channel. And I'll say, can we watch the baseball game? So I feel that. Yep. I think I'm the same way. No, I don't know. Good question. Why that is. Because we're tired, man. We're grouchy old farts. Tired farts.
Things change.
Was there, I should have covered this earlier. When you were a kid, you were a high school champ, weren't you?
I was.
Where was nationals when you were in high school?
Pueblo, Colorado.
The Pueblo time. I think Shorty Gorham made it in the calf rope, and he talked about going to Pueblo, Colorado to the high school finals. Yeah. What do you remember about that?
I remember the drive up there. We went in a half-ton pickup pulling a pop-up camper. And a buddy of mine from around home, his name was Jody Carter, he went with me. And Colorado was a long stinking way from Louisiana in a half-ton pickup with a pop-up camper. So we get there, and I remember seeing all of these horse trailers and all of these kids and just all of these bulls and cows and horse. We didn't have that in Louisiana. Like the bulls, high school rodeo, we had high school bulls. It's not like today where Texas and Louisiana is different, because they had better bulls in Texas than we had in Louisiana. And when I got there, I remember looking across this pen, it's big old yellow bulls and big old brindles and Mark Kane got on this one last year at the NFR and this and that, and it was kind of intimidating. But and I had that bull, the one that Mark Kane got on, and such. Did you know Mark Kane?
Yeah, I know Mark Kane.
Yeah. Well, that's what I just remember kind of being starstruck because I'd never really been nowhere at that point.
The National High School Finals is one of the greatest events, Western sports events I've ever been to. It's a freaking city.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What'd you do? You weren't a national champ, right?
No, I bucked off both bulls. I didn't have any luck out there.
So somewhere out there, there's some kids going, man, remember back in 96? I kicked Chris Shivers' ass at the National High School Finals.
Yeah, they're out there. And it's okay. I've been okay. I've lived with it.
Yeah, lived without that high school title. Haven't you? Jess Lockwood. Hey, when Jess Lockwood was a senior in high school, he did not win the Montana State high school. Kristen O'Neill. I remember, good kid. But to this day, I contend they got Jess slapping a bull and he didn't slap him. I think it cost him.
Really?
But he's been okay without it.
I remember me and Ross Johnson. You remember Ross Johnson?
I remember Ross.
Well, me and him battled it out there at the high school finals. Yeah.
You want to know what I remember?
I think I was the first bull rider north of Alexandria to ever win the bull riding in the high school.
In Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana.
Know what I remember about Ross Johnson? There's a little Ross Johnson story for you. Remember they used to put beer in the locker rooms. You remember? Bud Light. They'd put tubs of Bud Light in the locker rooms. And I remember where we were. We were in Long Island, New York, and it was intermission. And we were headed back to get water, get a drink in the locker room. And the guys who had bucked off already drank all their beer in the rider locker room. And I come around the corner and Ross Johnson has an armful of beer from our locker room. And I said, hey, and I grabbed him. I said, some of us worked more than 2.8 seconds this week. Put the damn beer back. And he went and put it back. I had him.
Somebody probably to go get that.
Yeah, somebody made him. So I saw you last year, Fort Worth. I know you don't watch much. Are you coming out to the World Finals? Any of that? Any big 30th anniversary the PBR is doing? Have you been invited to the World Finals? How's that work?
I think I got invited, but I don't think I'll be there. When is that? May?
Yeah, it's May. Middle of May.
May. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll be there. I'll be there for the mini bulls. I don't know if I'll go to the other.
Well, from me to you.
But I may.
From me to you, I would like you to be there.
Yeah. Well,
it's going to be my last PBR World Finals, and I'd like Chris Shivers to be there.
Well, I'm going to check in on it. I hadn't checked in on it. Benji said that. I'll do my best.
Do you want me to make you a hotel reservation right now?
I got one already.
Oh, shoot. Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And I did want to have you because I tell everybody, Chris you don't do much of this, do you?
No.
Because you don't care. I interpret that you don't care if you talk about bull riding.
No, I don't. I don't know. I don't get into the talking part of things. I don't know. I just never have. But I'm kind of like Frank Newsom. I say a few words, and that's about it.
Yeah. I like talking about it with the guys who were there with me.
Yeah.
And that understand.
Yeah.
People that weren't there, and that's not a being a dick thing. It's not a snobby thing. But like I can talk to you about it and I enjoy it, like the Ross Johnson story. Nobody else would get that. Like you get it. But with friends, I like the guys in a similar business. There's a reason we hang out with each other because there's a comfort level there.
Yep. Yeah, I miss that part of it. I miss that part. Yeah. And
So-
you know, I was out for, I don't know, a couple years ago. I went to Fort Worth where they had the finals, and I swear, and it's not, I just don't watch it on TV, and I wish I did more, but I just don't. And I had to go in sports medicine to find somebody that I knew, and all those guys were there. The same guys. Little Jimmy, he was there.
Yeah.
Dave, all the guys, they were still
Dave
there.
and Rich,
Yeah.
and Candy. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can walk those halls. People ask me all the time, what bull riders do you hang out with? Like they're my kids' age. Why the hell do I want to hang out with them? I hang out with announcers and sports medicine guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I
about
never
right.
figured that would happen in 1998 when the things was from 1998 to 2004 in the middle. I never thought that, some things, you never thought it would change, but things do. Sometimes for the better.
Weird, huh?
Yeah. Very weird.
Let's see. When was your last world title?
2003.
Were they giving $1 million away yet?
The first year they ever give $1 million.
You still have every dime of it, I'll bet.
Almost.
So you've done well saving your money.
Yeah, we've done okay.
Are you one of those guys that your friends joke that you have the first dollar you ever made? Are you a tight ass, Chris
Still
Shivers?
think I'm rich. They all the people think I'm rich, but yeah, I'm not. I'm not. I got a nice place and I got things that's comfortable, but no, I still have to work like everybody else. People wonder, why are you doing that? You done this, you done that, but it costs a lot to live,
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do I do the things that I like to do. It's not like I got a job that I'm hating to go to every day. I do what I want to do, so it's all good.
Well, when we were figuring this out, and just so everybody knows, the camera, the audio stuff, you don't do any of it. You sat over in the massage chair.
No, not gonna do it.
And
Don't know nothing about it.
I got a guy right there.
Yeah.
But when you say you're not rich, I'll know who did it. Your wife and Bran and your little girl and Blaine, and they're the ones on the camera. You're pretty rich with those guys.
Right, that's right. You bet. I got a great family. Everybody's healthy and everybody enjoys what they do, and we all still love each other to death. So it's all good.
Yeah, that's what matters. I appreciate the time, man.
Hey,
Always.
man, thanks for having me on.
Always. You got it.
I always dread that stuff till it's over.
I'll take care of you. I told you.
You did. As long as you asked a question, I can answer them. Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, I appreciate you.